Okay, so I've been comparing between two companies for for a very long time. But before I get into the comparison, I need to, define HR because it will be important in this comparison. HR is is the department within the business that is responsible for all work or for all things work related. That includes recruiting, firing, vetting, selecting, onboarding, training, promoting all employees, like independent contractors and normal employees. Let's get into the two companies. I've decided to compare between a lot of companies. I've narrowed them down to two companies, Apple and Samsung. But before I start comparing them, I really wanna say I wanna say which company I pick, the company I prefer to work at. Um, the company I would prefer to work at is Samsung, and I'll explain this later as I'm explaining the comparison. So, first we're going to start with Apple. Apple is an American multi-international company. It's the only company that's worth $1 trillion, and it's one of the biggest five companies in technology in the world. Apple has a certain recruitment procedure. It's hard and it's complicated that I cannot explain, but the methods include putting into consideration the organization's goals and objectives and the purpose of the company and the employee himself, and to ensure that the employee will be employed in the right place at the right time to ensure huge levels of success. If when the right individual is hired, he is expected to bring the company high levels of effectiveness and help them increase in their economic and technological level. Apple has certain cultural values. Steve Jobs gives inspiring talks about the core values of Apple, and more importantly, himself. He's discussing the Think Different campaign, which emphasizes its core values. You want to talk about Apple's core values on how to honor people and think, people can change with their passion. Um, there's a lot of cultural great cultural values for the company Apple, but there's a diversity problem there, which is one of the reasons that I decided not to pick Apple. Let's move on to the salary. Apple has an average salary of $28,000 per year, and the biggest salary is $170,000. This is also yet another reason the salary is way too low, and people may not be able to, ascend the ladder of salaries. Moving on to Samsung. Samsung is a South Korean multinational company that produces phones, televisions, and multiple other technological devices. Samsung has a unique recruitment procedure. Samsung conducts 3 to 4 rounds to select freshers as software engineers in their organization. There's a coding round first, then technical interview, then another technical interview which is more advanced, then the HR round. For the academic level, the academic criteria has to be 70% above the BTech Class X and Class XII level, and no backlogs at time of the interview. Coding round. The coding round consists of 3 hours, usually consists of one programming question. The maximum number of submissions allowed is usually restricted from 3 to 10, but you are allowed to compile your solutions any number of times. Basically, in this round conducted to check your problem solving skills in the structure. Technical interview number one. The second round is a technical interview. In this round, they generally ask questions on core computers and stuff like that to see if you're qualified enough. Technical interview number two, it is the third round of the interview. It consists of more questions on the core subjects and real life problems. The HR round, this is the final round where you can expect questions like tell me about yourself, why Samsung, questions regarding your family, and what are your interests, hobbies, and talents. Samsung has a really unique culture too. It has different values. As although they are a really huge business, they also care about humans. They aspire to help people. with donating a lot of their system and founding ethical foundations. They have a passion for excellence. They've proven to show high levels of passion in their work. They also have, a motto where any employee can go from anywhere, like he can go from just being a store employee to the top of the company as a CEO. Everyone has the opportunity to ascend the ladder. And this is one of the reasons I decided to pick Samsung, as I can ascend the ladder. And there's a better diversity there. Finally, moving on to the salary. Samsung pays an average of $49,500, and the highest salary is $172,000. This is it. I guess this is my project. I decided to pick Samsung, and goodbye.